Sam Darnold. And I know what you're all saying. Colin, you love Sam Darnold. I do. But I kept saying all year, when's the shoe going to drop? I know Sam's reckless. I watched him in college. I watched him in the pros. But he was having like an MVP-level season. And it happens. We've seen quarterbacks like this, Ken O'Brien, Rich Gannon, whatever it is. Guys have unbelievable, remarkable seasons. But the truth always comes out. Sam Darnold actually had a very Dak Prescott-like season. Won a lot of games. Everybody likes him. Players rally around him. Coaches love coaching him. Wins a lot of games. And then he faces elite competition, and it doesn't look the same. So Sam Darnold was 0-4 against the Rams and the Lions, and he was 11-0 against everybody else. And the good news for Sam Darnold is most everybody in the league is everybody else. There is one Sean McVay in Stafford. There is one Detroit Lion offensive line. So Sam Darnold, like Dak Prescott, you put up a 88-mile-an-hour fastball, he's going to hit it out of the park. He's got trouble hitting Kershaw in his prime's curveball. He's not going to beat the great teams unless he's got really good protection, a perfect game plan. So 90% of the league isn't this Rams team or the Lions or the Bills or Patrick Mahomes. The key is then don't pay him like Josh Allen. Tampa got it right. They paid Baker the contract that Sam should now get. The Cowboys screwed it up. They paid Dak the contract. Because I think that Dak, Baker, and Sam is kind of the same guy. Productive, players like him. You can build a little bit around them, but they're reckless, a little bit sloppy. They're not going to elevate the team as much as the team is going to protect them, but they can make plays. But the key is Tampa and the next team that pays Darnold can't pay him like Mahomes, and that's what the Cowboys did.
Okay. Well, I want to talk about this game specifically more than just so much what the future is for Sam Darnold, because I know a lot of people are ripping Sam. I live streamed this game and all that, and everyone's like, oh, see Sam, he's a pumpkin, he's a pumpkin, he's a pumpkin, told you. And I wholeheartedly, 100% disagree with that. And so I'm gonna play a clip from John Middlecoff, who works with Colin. If you don't know him, they have a great podcast that I highly recommend listening to. And so I want to play a couple clips from him real fast, little short sound bites that he brings an energy and says it way better than I ever could. And I 1000% agree with everything he says here. So let's take a listen.
But like in this individual game, that clearly wasn't going to work. And this is a league, and Belichick said it for decades. You're either coaching it or allowing it to happen. And he's the play caller. It's not like he's Tomlin over there, Mr. CEO. The offense is his baby. But pass play after pass play after pass play. It's like, Kevin, the score is not 30-3 right now. You are down a touchdown to an offense that hasn't been good in a month. Your defensive coordinator, now fell apart as the game went on, has been excellent all season. Take a deep breath. Slow the game down for the quarterback. That is your job. And he couldn't do it. And everyone, and I mean everyone, is going to take a massive dump on Sam Darnold. And like I said, he didn't just play like Joe Montana. He got worse as the game went on. But how is the coach going to get a pass? How are we just going to act like, yeah, the coach is doing a great job calling great plays. Meanwhile, there are 3 free rushers coming from the left and the right. But I get it. He's got a lot of friends in the media. This was the same guy that 2 weeks ago, before the big...
Okay. And then here's another clip.
And you know why? Because you just run the ball, slow down the game. Instead, we're getting into an NFL blitz style, slinging around nonstop. And it's like, that's not going to work tonight. It's evident. My mother could see, like, hey, you keep calling these pass plays with your quarterback holding the ball a little long, you're going to get throttled. And what happened? Hey, another pass, whatever the long play call is. Sack. Call the play in, another sack. It's like, what are we doing? It was coaching malpractice. It really was. And you watch. Every former player, everyone on the Twitter streets, they're all going to blame Sam Darnold. No one's going to mention to Kevin O'Connell. If you watch that game and you think it was the play calling had nothing to do with it, I don't know. We're not watching the same game.
Yeah. Wholeheartedly agree with that. And then I got one more very quick clip as well.
you're going to keep calling pass plays when you can't block their front, it's going to be a long night. Like I'm sorry, you can't just put 9 sacks. It can't just all be on the quarterback and even on the offensive line. Like the coach bears responsibility to that. Period. Point blank. End of story. So
there you go. You know, it's when he says something like that, it almost like backs me in a corner to be like, I don't have much more to say, because he just said it all, and he said it better than I could ever say it, which is why I really just wanted to show you, his clips rather than just kind of reference it. I 1000% agree with everything he said. I'm a big Kevin O'Connell fan. He's coming in actually really hard on Kevin O'Connell. Doesn't think he's that great of a coach, etc., etc., etc. I think he is. I think he is. I think he did an awesome job throughout this whole season. Just because this didn't end how you wanted it to, doesn't mean it invalidates the entire season. And it's just, this has always been my problem, and I knew that this was going to happen. That you keep saying, oh, Sam Darnold's going to be a pumpkin, Sam Darnold's going to be a pumpkin, Sam Darnold's going to be a pumpkin. And if he fails, you're wrong every single week. And then when they lose and fail, you're like, see, I told you, I was right. I was right all along. And it's like, no, you weren't. You were wrong every single week. And then a game like this, I get it. How on the surface, you're like, oh, see, Sam Darnold, he just turned into a pumpkin. And it's just like, it's just not true. 40 passes to 22 rushes. Sam Darnold was 25 for 40, 245 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 77 rating, and 9 sacks. He was pressured 22 times. It was just non-stop. And that's what I love that John Middlecoff, emphasizes. It's just like, you can't just, because even in the broadcast, they really try to be like, oh, he's holding on to the ball. And he's like, he is holding on to the ball a little bit, but like, he's just being attacked like non-stop. And you can't put that all on Sam. And considering what he was dealing with, like, it's actually not the worst thing, honestly. But I mean, like, it's just, it was, and that's why what John Middlecoff said, it was coaching malpractice, and now it's an easy target for everyone just to like jump on Sam, and it's not the way I see it. Again, I'm not going to act like Sam Darnold played secretly awesome. Like, that's not the argument here. It's not. But to just be like, oh, see, this was all Sam, he turned into a pumpkin, that's why the Vikings lost, like, that's not the answer either. And I really do think Kevin O'Connell deserves a tremendous amount of the blame. He did not manage this game appropriately at all. And there's 2 other points I want to bring up, because going into this game, I was talking in the comments, and I was like, I'm really excited for this game. I said, I think this is all going to come down to Kevin O'Connell. And unfortunately, I don't think I emphasized that enough in a video when I was thinking about it, especially my last video on First Things First, because I was trying to like get through that video so quickly to quickly live stream. But I always, when going into this, my whole mentality was Kevin O'Connell. And I was like, okay, Kevin O'Connell saw how the Detroit Lions game unfolded. He's going to take that, get in the lab, let's go. And he's going to come up with something special versus the Rams, or he's going to at least give Sam an answer to all this pressure, to all these blitzes. And he didn't. He absolutely positively did not. And that obviously proved to be a massive issue. And what John also said, I think it was, cannot go understated at all, in terms of understanding what's happening to your quarterback or your team in real time and having that dictate the decisions you make. And the best comparison that I saw of this recently was in Penn State versus Notre Dame. The quarterback for Penn State was clearly not having this great game. He was clearly not comfortable. The passing game was just disconnected. Clearly, I mean, it was as clear as day. And now they have a chance to go down and win the game at the very end of the game, kick a field goal. And, or at the very least, you're just going to be in overtime, and the overtime rules in football, in college, like it can truly be anyone's game. Like it's so much more open. And instead, they just had him let it rip, the quarterback for Penn State. And it was clear that should not have been. It was clear as the head coach, you do not put that quarterback in that moment, in that position to do that. Inside, I forget exactly how much time was left, like a minute or, whatever it was. It was very short. And it was just like, you don't do that. Like every pass should have been like a 4-yard pass. Like it should have just been all 100% high percentage, easy, fundamental. Like just, and if you don't get anywhere, it's okay. It's fine. Then you're gonna, you're gonna go to overtime. But don't put your quarterback in a position to make a decision that could, make a mistake. And he threw an interception. And it was just like, it was clear as day that because he had already thrown almost a couple interceptions that game, but he got lucky because of flags. And it was just like, this is the quarterback that you're dealing with right now. Learn how to read the room. Read your quarterback. Don't just be like, oh, I'm gonna trust him to step up and trust him to make, to do what he needs to do. And it's like, no, that's not how these things work all the time. And that's why, like, again, if you caught what John Malkoff said, like NFL Blitz, I assume he meant like the video game, like NFL Blitz, where you're just like, you're just calling hike and you're running back and they're coming after you and you're just like, doing, da boom or whatever the heck that play was. And you just like let it rip the NFL Blitz's version of Hail Mary. And like, that's what this was. And so it was bad. And so you are leaving Sam Darnold on an island, and it's just like, you're not giving him any answers. You're just not. And when you get sacked like this 9 times, like to think that you just put that all on the quarterback, again, I really wholeheartedly disagree with that. I really do. And the lack of the run game, and even when they, the run game approach in this game, it was like, none of it was creative. It was always just very much like, we have to run the ball. Like, I don't really want to run the ball, but I know I have to. I can't throw 100% of the time. And so, yeah, I really do think, and I think incredibly highly of Kevin O'Connell, incredibly highly. It does make me wonder if Kevin O'Connell really is a quarterback whisperer, and which I think he is. I think he's awesome, and I think he did a beautiful job throughout this season. And like I said, these bad games don't invalidate that. But I do wonder if he needs to give up play calling just in the game. Like, he still is, his fingerprints are still all over the offense and everything else, because I think he's proven. But I do wonder if in games he can't handle that, at least right now at this point of his career. Because he's only like 38. Like, he's a young guy. I don't know. I kind of go back and forth on that. I don't have my mind made up on that just yet. But because again, you don't ever want to overreact to a game, but like these last 2 games were not good from the Lions, versus the Lions and the Rams, and they fundamentally looked like that they just lacked a cohesive, competent, high quality game plan, and the Vikings themselves did not look ready to play. They did not look ready to play. I mean, look at some of the other teams around the league. The Rams, you got a front row seat. The Rams were ready to play. Look at their opening drive. Guys were wide open. It was the easiest drive. Any quarterback, it wasn't Matthew Stafford's brilliance, and it wasn't Puka Nakua's brilliance. Any quarterback could have marched down the field and scored. I mean, that was Sean McVay's, opening drive. That was his game plan, and it worked beautifully. And the truth is that if the Vikings had a real game plan, they could have won this game. When you actually really do it, and it's always hard. It's a little bit hard because the Rams obviously got off to a good lead. And so they played kind of conservative and were smart. They took care of the ball. But I mean, they were... Where did I write this down? Man, I didn't write it down anywhere. This was in the middle of the night. Oh, no, I did. They were 2 for 10 on 3rd down and 10 penalties. The Rams were 2 for 10 on 3rd down and 10 penalties. And the one scoop fumble was 7 points, obviously. It scored 20-9. Like, there was moments that this team could have got going. I mean, it's not like Stafford had this like unbelievable dominant game. That wasn't necessarily. He played a smart game and a high IQ game, but it's not like this was just like, oh man, the Rams just came to play. They dominated. Like, it didn't need to be that way, and it's kind of crushing because that whole fumble versus not fumble. If that gets called a fumble, they scoop that up, score a touchdown. Now the score, I think the score would have been like 10-10. And that just changes everything. That changes everything. But instead, they don't get that. And on the other end of the ball, now the Rams get a strip fumble on Sam Darnold, and that gets, walked in. Right? And it's just like things just kind of spiraled. And it's an unfortunate situation for the Vikings, very upsetting for them. And I know the fan base is kind of like, well, we do this every year, welcome to the Vikings party. And so I feel for you. It's a bummer. It definitely really is. And I know in this moment, it's just like everybody wants to kind of find who to blame and who to yell at. And the reality is, I think kind of everyone's to blame right now for the Minnesota Vikings. But I think all of the attention is going to be on Sam Darnold. And I don't think that that's fair, quite frankly. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Minnesota Vikings, Sam Darnold, and how this season all unfolded? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here. I'd absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.